Hey guys, so since I purchased the Niche Zero grinder last September, I have not really fully opened it to do a thorough cleaning yet. So I figured in the spirit of spring cleaning, I might as well open this up and do an actual thorough cleaning of the interior. So if you guys also want to do this at home, you can follow along. And also I'll share with you guys what I normally do to upkeep the grinder without disassembling it. You can actually apply this to any grinder that you have at home. Anyways, without further ado, let's get this started. Alright, hopefully the fact that you need to clean your grinder in order to maximize its lifespan is not really news to anyone. But just in case if it's not something that you guys are doing or you're just not really comfortable with doing so, I'm here to walk through this process with you guys. Now, how often you clean your machine really depends on the beans that you use. If you're using beans that are just oily to begin with, then I would suggest that you clean your machine about once a month at least. Because one of the major things that we are cleaning off all the burrs and the pieces is actually the oil that's from the coffee beans. Even coffee that does not look especially oily on the outside will still leave behind some oil on the burrs as time passes. Just to give you guys an example, the beans that I normally use have pretty much no oil on the outside of the beans. They look pretty much dry. So for me, I do my normal cleaning process every month and a half to 2 months. And there's actually a very easy way for you guys to do that without disassembling the machines at all. So what I use to clean my machine on a regular basis is the Ernix grinds. And this is actually made by the same company that makes the Cavisa that we use to clean our Bravo machines. So this is basically a gluten-free food grade cleaning tablet that just helps absorb all of the oil that's inside the grinder without having to take it apart. And how to use it is very simple. You simply take the cap of the grinds and you fill it up until it's like a small little mountain. So something like this, and this should be around 35 to 40 grams of the grinds tablets. And you will just put it through your grinder, set your grinder to more of a medium setting, and essentially just grind through the entire portion like so. And actually something that I did forgot to mention is that if you have the Niche Zero with this little disc in it, it's actually a lot easier if you remove the disc prior to you run the grinds through the grinder, just because it's gonna make it a lot faster. But anyways, what you end up getting out of the machine is these little cornmeal like grinds along with some really fine residual coffee beans. And of course, in the case of the Niche Zero, there's not much residual coffees left inside the grinder. We're just gonna go ahead and dump this out. And normally speaking, you will simply just go ahead and wipe down the machine and purge through some coffee beans that you normally use just to ensure that there's no more grinds inside your grinder. And that's that. And that is actually what I do to just upkeep the machine through the past 6 months. But today I want to be even more thorough and take it one step further by taking apart the burr set. Niche actually provided all the tools that you need to do this step. You have the brush that comes with the machine, and of course the hex wrench. So what is recommended that you do before you remove this piece is take the cleaning brush and just insert it into the spout. But you can actually do this just on a normal basis as well. This just helps remove any remaining particles that's inside the actual spout. And as you can see, there's really just not a lot of things in there. The second thing you want to be careful with before you take apart your machine is keep in mind that the chrome piece and the black ring piece, which is essentially the calibration ring, rotate separately. So don't make the mistake that I did by rotating the black ring and just get this out completely out of calibration. It actually takes quite a bit of trial and error to get it back right again. So before you remove everything, what I find to be helpful is simply just turn your grind setting all the way to the arrow that says calibrate. And you just want to make sure that by the time the little silver dot reaches the calibrate arrow, is at a tension level where it's pretty firm to hand tighten, but not so much that you have to fight it in order to get it to the arrow. And of course, if you can easily turn that little dot all the way past the calibrate mark, that means your machine might have been out of calibration to begin with. And once you double check on this, you want to just go ahead and take the hex wrench and first just remove this middle nut piece. Which comes out just like that. And this is the disc piece that I was talking about that you can remove to help the grinds go down faster. But just in case if you don't know what this is for, this is actually a disc that Niche included in the later machines to prevent popcorning. That was quite common with the Niche Zero when it was first released. Next, what we're gonna do is just keep rotating the hopper counterclockwise until you can pull it out. Now again, just be careful when you are rotating this, rotate it by the chrome piece and not the black glossy piece on the bottom. Okay, and it comes out just like that. And of course, if you do see any particles, you can go ahead and just do like a quick cleaning right now. The next piece to remove is just this outer burr set piece. And it does have a little bit of weight, so you just want to put both of your fingers in there and lift it out slowly. And as you can see, you can still see some of the leftover grinds particles that we just pushed through. So since I have the burr set out, I want to go ahead and show you guys where the 0.1 retention rate of this niche grinder usually goes. As you can see over here, this little brown ring are actually leftover coffee grinds and a little bit of grime. Yeah, see? So even with the normal cleaning, it will still leave over a little bit of leftover oil. This is actually nothing too bad. But anyway, so while you have this out, just gonna go ahead and take a piece of towel and just wipe it down. Yeah, I'm just gonna use this brush here to go ahead and brush everything off. All right, so now you can see this is fully cleaned off compared to before. You will definitely see where these little crevices are usually where the retained coffee grinds reside. So the next part we're gonna remove is just the inner burr piece right over here. And with this piece, we're gonna do the same thing and just go ahead and brush it off a little bit. Okay, that's that. And finally, there's one last piece that we need to remove. And on this piece, you will see a little bit more retained coffee over here. I can just brush this right off. It's nothing too greasy or anything like that. Actually, on this piece, there's a bit more coffee than on that outer burr ring piece. So just be mindful when you're doing this. Obviously, you might create a bit of a mess on your countertop. Just be patient and make sure you get all of that excess coffee off. Lastly, I still see a bit more leftover coffee grind and some oil on the bottom. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take a paper towel and see if I can clean that up. Because you can kind of just take the brush and just sweep them towards the spout opening. This little funnel there. It's actually quite convenient. Yeah, probably would have been a good idea to leave the little tray on top, but oh well, I'm just gonna sweep this up. Okay, lastly, just gonna sort of clean up the sides a little bit. Okay, I'm just doing a final check to make sure everything's out. All right, so at this point, all that's left to do is just put the machine back together. All right, so I just zoomed in to show you guys how the machine looks like when it's all cleaned up. It's actually quite pleasant to look at, and it's quite a satisfying clean. So now we are actually just gonna go ahead and put the burr set back together. So the first thing that goes in is this little piece. You wanna make sure you put it in with the hollow side down. Drop it in just like so. The next piece is the inner burr piece. Something to keep in mind, this is a little groove that's on the side of the inner piece, and that groove line needs to be lined up with the line that is on the middle rod piece here. So you want to go ahead and line it up. And this little piece here, as you can see with the little peg on the side, it acts as a locking mechanism to lock those two pieces together. Okay, go ahead and secure that. Next, we have the outer ring piece. Just line up the pegs to the groove on the side. Like so. And of course, lastly, we have the hopper piece. Let me go ahead and do a final dust. And you're just going to hand tighten it, screw it down. And just keep in mind, you do need to press down on it just a little bit, just because the outer burr ring piece is spring loaded. Be sure that you're only turning the chrome part and not the black piece on the bottom. It's just gonna make your life easier. Not with too much effort, you just get it to where it naturally stops. And again, double check where the little silver dot and the arrow piece are lined up. And that is pretty much it. And I'm just gonna go ahead and turn it back to where I normally keep my espresso setting. Of course, lastly, just clean this little disc up a little bit and drop it back in there. And at this point, the cleaning process is pretty much done. But a couple of things to keep in mind. If you are just doing your routine cleaning with the grinds, like I said before, you want to make sure you purge some coffee through just to make sure there's no more residual grinds that's left inside the machine. However, if you're doing a thorough cleaning like this where we took everything apart, so essentially you brought this machine back to more or less the same state that it was when you first received it. So if you remember from my unboxing and first impression video, the first few grinds, you will notice a bit more retention in the grinder. So what you want to be sure of to do is to just go ahead and grind through some coffee, and it will go back to being consistently 0.1 plus or minus within 1 to 3 cups of drinks. Alright, hopefully you find that cleaning tutorial helpful and or at least satisfying to watch. Before I sign up, I just want to reiterate the whole point about cleaning your machine. Regardless if you're doing this full clean every single time or if you are using the grinds tablet in between, be mindful of the normal cleaning routine that you do with any of your espresso machines. Doesn't matter if it's the Niche Zero here or any grinder that you have at home. This will maximize the life of the bird, and this is even more crucial if you're using oilier beans. Alright, that's it for this episode. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and follow our Instagram page right here. And as always, leave your comments down below if there's anything that you would like to watch in the future, and if you have any questions regarding cleaning this machine. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!